Just picture this for a second. It's a crisp winter morning. The air is so sharp and clean, and Sarah's stepping out of her off-grid cabin. That cold air, it's this powerful reminder of a fundamental truth that really every single off-grid homeowner learns. Our electricity needs, they're in this constant dance with the seasons. A solar setup that feels unbelievably abundant in the long, lazy days of July can suddenly feel really tight, almost strained, when you're in the depths of January. And really getting a feel for this rhythm, this seasonal pulse of both energy production and what we're actually using, well, that's absolutely essential for a reliable off-grid life. You see, it isn't just about the technology. It's about planning with wisdom and really embracing the unique character of each part of the year. This is the real foundation of true energy independence, a life that's lived in harmony with the world around us. So here's the crucial point. Winter presents this kind of double challenge. Just as the days are getting shorter and the sun is sitting lower in the sky, which cuts down our solar production, our energy needs often go way up. We might be running a heat pump or an electric boiler, maybe some infrared panels to stay warm. We need more power at the exact moment we're making less of it. Summer, of course, is the total opposite. Our panels are just cranking out power, creating a surplus we can use to run the AC, heat our water, and just keep those batteries nice and full. Okay, let's talk about some real numbers, because that's where it gets interesting. Imagine you've got a solid, medium to large off-grid system. Let's say 20 modern 450-watt peak panels. Now, in the heart of a northern European winter, say December or January, that entire system, it's often going to produce only about 5 kilowatt hours per day. And I'm not guessing here. This is the lived reality for countless off-grid homes. So you might be thinking, well, the solution's easy, just add more panels. But here's the thing. If we double that system to 40 panels, giving us a massive 18,000-watt peak array, our winter production, it only goes up to about 10 kilowatt hours per day. And this, right here, this illustrates the true limiting factor that's at play. As you can see, doubling the hardware doesn't come close to doubling the output in deep winter. The real bottleneck isn't the number of panels you have, it's the amount of available sunlight. It's as simple as that. When those heavy clouds roll in for days at a time, even an absolutely enormous solar array is going to struggle. Winter solar power can be tough, for sure, but just acknowledging that truth is the very first step toward making a really smart plan. So if we can't just produce our way out of the problem, what do? Well, we adopt a balanced winter strategy. This means we have to reduce our demand for electrical heating. Maybe that means things like wood or pellet stoves. It means making our homes way more efficient with good insulation and sealing up every single draft. It also means practicing conscious consumption, just being mindful of what we're using and when. And finally, it means relying on a small generator to cover those rare, extreme periods of really dark weather. Look, you don't design your entire system for the single worst week of the year. That is just not good stewardship of your resources. And this brings us to a much more realistic and cost-effective goal. Instead of trying to get 100% solar coverage for all 12 months, a much smarter target is to size your system to comfortably cover about 8 to 10 months of the year with just solar. For the rest of the year, a mix of conscious living and some backup support is going to fill that gap. And the good news is, with panels being so affordable now, slightly oversizing your array to give you more stability in the spring and fall is a very reasonable choice to make. It's also so important to understand the proper role for each piece of your system. Think of it like this. You need the right tool for the right job. A battery is an amazing, essential tool for daily balancing. It's designed to store the sun's energy from the daytime to power your home through the night. Perfect. A generator, though, it serves a totally different purpose. It's the right tool for bridging those multi-day gaps when there's simply no sun to harvest. Trying to use a massive battery to store power for an entire week of dark weather is just incredibly inefficient and ridiculously expensive. So let's be perfectly clear about this. The true limit is not your panels. It's the physical and environmental realities of where you live. It's the amount of sunlight you actually get, which of course is affected by weather and the season. It's how much roof space you have and which way it's facing. It's whether you've got shading from trees or buildings nearby. It's your specific local climate. All these things, these are the factors that shape your real-world outcomes. And they are precisely why a generator isn't a luxury. It's a requirement for true off-grid independence. This whole idea of preparing for different seasons, it's a truly timeless piece of wisdom. In the book of Proverbs, we're invited to learn from nature itself, to consider the ways of the ant. The ant doesn't question that winter is coming, it just prepares for it. It stores its provisions during the summer harvest, in that season of abundance. When we plan our energy systems in the same way, we're really practicing a kind of faith in action. We're walking confidently through the seasons of scarcity because we prepared during the seasons of plenty. So, this philosophy of balanced planning naturally brings up some really important questions. For instance, how much solar should I actually plan for the winter? Well, the most practical approach for most climates is to design a system that can easily cover 8 to 10 months of the year. For those other winter months, you're going to rely on a combination of a generator and probably some alternative heating. This really honors both your desire for independence and the reality of the seasons. And this approach, it just reflects an ancient principle. As it says in Luke, before you build a tower, you first sit down and you count the cost. Wise planning means understanding both what you have and what your limits are. It's about building a system that's not only effective, but is also a sustainable use of the resources God has provided. Here's another key question. If I just add more and more panels, will I be fully independent in winter? And while it seems like it should work, the answer is often no. The natural limits of sunlight mean that during a long string of dark, cloudy days, even a huge array is going to struggle. You eventually reach this point of diminishing returns, where each panel you add gives you very little extra security in those darkest months. There's a real deep wisdom in recognizing that some things will just always be outside of our direct control. Just like the wind blows where it wishes, so too does the sunshine according to a rhythm that's much larger than ourselves. Our job is to work with these realities, to blend our wisdom and our adaptability together to create a truly resilient home. So, what about batteries? Should you invest in a really, really large battery bank for the winter? Well, while big batteries are fantastic for daily use, trying to store enough energy for a whole week of sunless days is just incredibly expensive and inefficient. From a stewardship perspective, a much more balanced and cost-effective setup is going to combine your solar, a reasonably sized battery, and a generator for those deep winter gaps. This idea of balance, it's a theme that just keeps coming up. This proverb reminds us that better a little with righteousness than much gain with injustice. And in our context here, this really speaks to finding the righteous or maybe the right-sized solution. A balanced, well-planned system often leads to far better outcomes than one that's just built on oversized excess. So what's the most cost-effective strategy for living off-grid all year round? It really boils down to three things. First, focus on efficiency. That means especially reducing your electrical heating demand in the winter. Second, slightly oversize your solar array to give you some stability in those shoulder seasons, spring and fall. And third, use a reliable generator during the darkest periods. This balanced approach is what keeps your costs reasonable while making sure you're still comfortable and safe. This whole strategy is just a perfect illustration of another proverb. Whoever gathers little by little makes it grow. See, it's not about one single massive investment that's going to solve everything at once. It's about steady, wise, incremental progress. That is what truly builds lasting stability and resilience in an off-grid home. But the question, it always comes back to this. Why can't I just oversize everything and forget about the generator? And the reason is that even a colossal system cannot overcome the physical reality of low sunlight in winter. The generator is not a failure of your solar system. Think of it as an insurance policy against the unpredictable. It is your safety net, and having one is a sign of responsible stewardship and really good planning. We can frame all this with one final reflection. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Now, this is not about living in fear. Preparedness is not fear. It is faith turned into responsible action. It's about seeing the reality of the seasons and taking wise, practical steps to make sure your family is safe and provided for, no matter what. So, as we wrap all this up, the core message is really this. True off-grid independence isn't found in just endless expansion or oversized excess. It's found in balance. It's found in understanding and embracing the rhythm of the seasons, reducing our needs when we have to, and using the right tools for the right job. It really is a path of wisdom and good stewardship. If you're feeling ready to start planning a system that embraces this balanced approach, we really encourage you to explore the planning tools and guides we have available at AdventOffGrid. They can help you design a system that's resilient, responsible, and just perfectly tuned to the seasons of your life. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.